Comment. Seeing none in the chambers, any online? None? All right. Call the question. No.
Director Klein? Director Alany?
Aye.
Director Hanson?
Yes.
Director Carter?
Aye.
Director Chris?
Yes.
Pasha Alstrom?
Yes.
And Chair Haschek.
Aye. All right. Very good. So we'll move on to number 8, which is public expression for items not on the agenda. Any public expression in the chambers?
In their life to get them one of these. They're down at the bike shop. It really helps us as firefighters to find you guys in buildings or anywhere where you might get stranded. As an old person, if you're on a walk or whatever, you just press one button. If you can't scream out, people can't see you. It blinks. It's kind of like a mini tot finder. They're really cheap, and you just clip it to your side. And you can clip it to the back of your kid's backpack also in the case of a fire, in case you have to escape. So I wanted to just leave that for everybody there. Now on to public comment. There's a letter that I've worked on. It was signed by the MAC, and it's basically a form letter. Also Red Valley Calpella Fire Department, and also the County Council of Mendocino County. And basically the verbiage says that we need a QR code on every trailer being sold in California that directly identifies how to actually put the trailer chain on. We've had 3 trailer chain fires in less than like 3 days. And so, you know, I can run around and say, I told you so, yada, 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 but things are exploding on us right now, and this is going to happen. And I said last year, a trailer chain fire is coming to a city towards you. I wasn't kidding. I'm not messing around. This is a situation that needs to be dealt with immediately. 99% of the trailers that I see, from commercial to just regular folks towing, are totally out of compliant, completely out of compliant. They aren't even close to what the code actually says. And as our roads get more and more chunked out, where the tires go, the middle gets taller, the chains drag, and that's what's happening. Second thing is I've identified several places to have, and I'm working, to finish that up, I'm working with Scott Alonso in District 2 and some of his representatives to get this out and push this through for the rest of the state, because I don't think we are the only ones who are going to be dealing with this. I think this is going to explode all over the place. And so I really would like to see us be prepared. A 747 is great, makes great pictures, dropping drops and stuff. But if we could just utilize old fire hose and cover these chains, we don't have to pay for a giant 747, and we can actually nip it in the bud. And it's basically just the code that's already written.
And Gizmo,
Number
your
final thing is a new stream of revenue. My question to MCOG last month was, any commercial vehicle that's registered, that works more than 100 days in Mendocino County should be registered here in Mendocino County. I believe that we're missing out on a lot of revenue because a lot of the commercial vehicles are registered in Sonoma County. I'm just going to use PG&E as an example. I'm not directing anything towards them. I just want to say, if a lot of the vehicles that they register in Sonoma County and then they come and live here, these vehicles get over 1,000,000 miles. They're bouncing around on our roads, they're using our roads, and we are not getting any of the revenue from the registration. So we need to look at that as another revenue stream. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. And just one question, if I could. With those tire chain fires that you're
Yes.
talking about, chain
Yes.
tires, where are they? Are they on the 101 corridor, or are they, do you know the location?
We had the pond fire was, Sheriff Matt Kendall identified the chain. You could see where it had been dragging down. The fire right after that was also a resident evacuating, with their horses, starting another fire. And then the Tuesday, the one in Philo, we had one in Philo on Tuesday. That was also someone, the residents were on it. So we're actually
Yeah.
aware of what's going on. We
Okay.
have the fire sense here. We don't need think tanks.
Yeah.
We don't need outside people
Got
to
it.
tell us what's going on.
Thank you.
We are boots on the ground. Thank you.
All right. So, let's see. Any other public comment in the chambers?
Good afternoon. My name's Stephen Johnson. I'm a local attorney. I represent Bauer Limited Partnership, and I'm here to discuss briefly the Caltrans Highway 1 Enhancement Project involving Gualala, California. And effectively, there's going to be some bike lanes placed on Highway 1, along with some turning lanes, and the removal of public parking on Highway 1. On-street parking, or what's determined to be on-street parking. Effectively, under this plan, there will be 90 parking spots lost. This is an unmitigated loss. Caltrans is not mitigating the loss of that parking, so they're not going to provide any other additional method or availability of parking. This is going to significantly impact the economic viability of businesses in Gualala, which is very difficult to make a living in Gualala presently. When there's a loss of this parking, it's going to negatively impact them. My client owns the property that presently has the surf market, which is a major market in Gualala, benefits all of the South Coast area for miles and miles in each direction, and perhaps it can go out of business. There's significant worry that there's not going to be adequate parking to maintain it as a market in its present condition if the parking is removed based on the plan. Additionally, with the removal of all on-street parking, it must be noted that this on-street parking is actually private property. So the Caltrans, the state of California, does not own the property. That's owned by the actual property owners. The state of California simply owns or has a prescriptive easement across the existing Highway 1. So they're going to take private property, and they're going to take private parking that's going to significantly impact the people of Gualala. Additionally, there's going to be no parking for emergency vehicles, no parking for trucks, no parking for trailers, no parking for people that have fishing boats they're pulling. The tourist impact is going to be significant. And I think the County of Mendocino needs to be aware of this, and they need to have input on this. This is going to be unacceptable, negative, and it's an enhancement project that's going to actually negatively impact the viability of that town. Additionally, there's there's going to be bike lanes, which normally are a very good thing. However, this is Highway 1. The bike lanes are going to last a quarter of a mile, and it's going to go back to the normal Highway 1, no bike lane. There's no need for bike lanes, and in taking them and putting in the bike lanes and left-hand turns, inserting 5 crosswalks into this project, there's going to be a significant impact on the movement of people up and down the highway. There's also potentially safety issues, and then now people at Surf Market may have to cross the highway to go to parking that's maybe across the street, which is again private parking, that they may not have the legal right to use. However, they may use it. So there are significant safety issues, as well as where these people decide to park may not be safe if they have a trailer or there's no other parking. They'll just
Okay.
park where they can. And I think that the County of Mendocino needs to address this and needs to pay attention to it. And we cannot afford to just give up on Gualala and the tourism. Mendocino County and the
Right.
coast survives on tourism, and this is important to that aspect of life in Mendocino County. Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you. Right, any further public expression? Seeing none in the chambers, any online? Okay,
I'd just like to say before we move on that I will ask Caltrans to come. We haven't had an update from Caltrans in a while on the Walala project, and so I think I will ask them to come to our next meeting to provide the board with an update.
very good, thank you. Okay, so we're on to regular calendar item number 9, which is a presentation for the 2025 10-year plan projects for Mendocino County. Okay,
Right, I'll just say something really quick before we hand it over to Caltrans. So this is a good opportunity to provide input on the shop, which sort of guides the work that Caltrans will be doing over the next, decade here in Mendocino County. And we have asked for this opportunity to be more involved. And so we want to thank Caltrans for giving this opportunity to provide some input. And with that, I will hand it over to the Caltrans team to do their presentation for us.
Thanks. Share my screen.
good afternoon.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Kirsten Thurston. I'm the asset manager for Caltrans District 1. Thank you for this opportunity. The purpose of this presentation is to share with you all, as Nafili mentioned, our planned projects coming in the next decade. It does take us quite a while to plan and develop our projects, so coming to you as early as possible to get your input and feedback on these projects. So I'm going to be covering a few different things. So how is the 10-year plan developed? Where we are now in the process, what the District 1 2025 performance plan looks like. And part of that is that we are going to be getting an update to that performance plan that we've received. We thought was final, but actually in the last week, we were notified it's actually maybe reduced by 15%. So everything I'm going to be sharing with you is draft, and just want to let you all be aware of that we will probably be coming back and sharing a final list later. So the projects I will be sharing are draft, but so we have this 10-year plan, but what we're really focusing on is the last 5 years of the 10-year plan. So that's between 2031 and 2035. So it's a bit out there, but yeah, that's how long it takes us to get projects done. So this is what we kind of call the SHOP 10-year plan development cycle. For this cycle, we started in 2024 looking at our needs in the SHOP and our performance gaps, and that turned into the State Highway System Management Plan. And from that, headquarters, gave us our targets, which are our performance plans, which is leading us into this where we are now, which is project nomination. So doing outreach to our partners, meeting internally, looking at what our needs and priorities are, and then we'll move forward to project initiation. And then from there, we kind of just go through project development, and then we'll start again looking at the needs in 2026. So the next SHOP cycle we're working on is the 2028, and that's where we'll be in the K phase. So just to give you a sense of that timeline. So we're here, project nomination, and then for 2 years, we'll be working in the K phase. And so those 2028 SHOP projects will be programmed in the 0 phase in July 2028. and then finally go into construction as early as July 2030, but more realistically around July 2031 or July 2033, 32. And a lot of our projects actually will take an additional year to complete because we have a lot of environmental and right-of-way constraints, and they just require additional time. So the types of projects that are determined to be SHOP eligible or come from the State Highway System Management Plan and our performance plan. So our performance plan is a shopping list of performance targets that are a result of the State Highway System Management Plan. So these targets or objectives are, we have our main four, which are pavement, drainage, bridges, and transportation management systems. So all of our electrical elements. And then additionally, we have our supplementary assets, which can be like fish passage, safety, ADA, others. As you can see below, we have 17 different objectives we have to meet for our district with a budget of $1.5 billion. And that's for 5 years of projects for the entire district. So that's 4 counties. And as I briefly mentioned, we're actually getting a cut on top of that. So I'm not sure where we're going to be when we get that updated performance plan. But in comparison to what we got the previous cycle, we had a budget of $1.8 billion and 23 objectives. So we've been seeing a reduction in our budget, but also in our objectives. And part of that is some of those objectives, they're all, going towards good condition. They're no longer in poor, or they're like in our existing planned and program projects. So they will be in good condition soon. So from there, we looked at district-wide what projects we want to work on. And so for Mendocino, this is our current draft list of projects to be developed over the next few shop cycles. So for pavement, we have quite a few. We have 3 different projects on Men 1, a couple projects on Men 20, and then 4 projects on Men 101. And then drainage, we're looking at a project on Men 101, various locations between these post miles, and doing drainage improvements in Hopland. And then we have a couple of fish passage projects as well. Bridge, we've identified a lot of seismic need. Majority of these are on Men 101. And then we also have our bicycle and pedestrian infrastructure projects that we've identified. So these projects are what I consider our anchor projects. So pavement's the anchor, but we're likely doing additional satellite element work. So we have this Willits paving projects. We'd be combining that with the bike and ped or complete streets elements of this project. So it's going to be multiple assets. We're going to go to one location and try to do as much work as possible that's SHOP eligible. And the bike and ped list that we came up with, these were all taken from community plans. That's how we developed the list. And this list I'm sharing with you is slightly different than I shared with the TAC. We've, started looking closer at our budget and our performance and seeing what we can really achieve in 5 years of projects. And so we provided the TAC an opportunity to comment on all these projects. And so I was going to give you, let you know how we're working on incorporating that feedback. So the survey was open for a month and we received a couple responses, and I'll be working on providing a complete formal response in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to wait until we get that updated performance plan so that any more changes that are made, we can be able to communicate that at the same time. So on Laytonville pavement, there was concern for safe crossings and, including additional opportunity for crossings as part of the project. So yeah, we've looked at what the proposed mile limits were for the project, and we're going to go ahead and extend those through Laytonville so we can incorporate those additional safety and complete streets elements. Fort Bragg pavement, there was a drainage issue identified, and I did reach out to our maintenance drainage folks. And this is a location that's been brought to our attention in the past, and we've done interim measures during storm events, but we will continue to investigate what we can do for a permanent solution as we have projects through this area. And then also, continued coordination with City of Fort Bragg, County of Mendocino, and MCOG for complete streets and safety improvements. And yeah, absolutely, as this project is developed, we'll be reaching out to you. Currently, this project is identified for the 2030 or 2032 shot. So it's a bit of ways out, but yeah, it's on our radar and we'll continue reaching out. Willits pavement, request to coordinate with the City of Willits in project planning, allowing adequate time for community input, improvements for the south end of Willits, and at Blosser Lane and 20. Physical improvements more than paint have been called for at that intersection to calm traffic and improve crossing safety. So we are working closely with the City of Willits to ensure our outreach and project development timelines align so we can take all this input into consideration. We definitely want to, do as much as possible while we're in the community. And then part of this Willits pavement project is on the east side of 101. So there was the intersection of 20 and Potter Valley Road were called out to, let's look to see what we can do there. So again, once we're in the K phase, we have that the project open, we'll work on coordinating the scope at the intersection. And then on the Hopland Drainage Project, a request to communicate with community and PUD to prepare for utility and business impacts. And yeah, we will definitely continue to work closely on all the upgrades that we need to do in the community. I should have put it here, but Talmadge, that's a complete streets project. So the request for separated facilities wherever feasible and to continue to include MCOG. So we did do some outreach a couple years ago. And so we're going to go back to that community feedback to see, making sure what they were asking for is informing the project. I didn't have time to see specifically if that is separated facilities, but if they are, we will be, to our best effect, like doing what the community wants and continue to working with MCOG as for further scoping the project. And then just in general on our complete streets projects, we did the level of detail we provided on the survey was very minimal. So when we have that additional information, we will share that with you all, and we will continue to coordinate with MCOG and the communities when we're developing the scope and taking into consideration when we do need that additional outreach, like building that to the project schedule. It's definitely something we'll be looking into, making sure we're putting the projects in the right years to deliver them with as much outreach as possible. And then there was an opportunity for general feedback. So we will be looking into Covelo, seeing what the plan is out there versus what's been constructed and see if there is a gap between the plan and how much of the path has been constructed. And then lighting and landscaping consideration in all projects where the highway serves as a main street, and that's going to be dependent on maintenance agreements, but we'll do what we can. And so the survey did close, but we do have additional opportunity for project involvement. So this new external partner communication request form is going to be live soon, but it will provide you the opportunity to select your level of involvement on projects. And then also we have this project book website, which is updated quarterly, and that has all projects that we're working on, not just shop projects in the last 5 years that I just shared with you, but program projects and also our reactive and our safety projects. All projects have different funding mechanisms. And then with that, I'll just leave it open for questions.
Right. Any questions from the board? Nope, not at this point.
And I will share this presentation after the meeting.
All right, so I've got a quick question. So Kirsten, thank you for the presentation. And so if board members do, once they get this presentation and, you know, kind of have something to respond to, a little time to read through this, if they have additional comments, should they just either email you or Megan with those comments?
Yeah, that'd be great. And we'll make sure it gets to the right person.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, thank you for the presentation, and this was for information only, so no action required. We'll go to public comment. Okay?
There's been several identifiable projects here over the years that I've mentioned. We really need to fix the North State Street on-ramp, off-ramp. I'm not sure if that's going to fit into the budget, but there's seems to be always a broken mirror, a crash there, something that is happening that's not safe. The sign for people to move over from the right-hand lane to the left-hand lane from lane number 1 to lane number 2 is creating a large issue. People who are moving at a regular 63 or 65 are moving into a lane where people are passing. And so that's a big time issue that we've identified here and need to look at how we can make that safer. The Highway 20 east entering 101, the Highway 20 Calpella / on-ramp, off-ramp, always got mirrors, glass, and a guardrail wrecked all the time right past the Calpella entrance in the middle of the freeway. I haven't kept count on how many of those are. And then my third comment is Redwood Valley participated with Caltrans in the Highway 20 bridge project, and we continued to bring up the issue that the Highway 20 entrance, the on-ramp, brings you into a space that is really dangerous from vehicles that are coming heading west. There's a large space that is black. People do not see you. It's an off-camber left-hand turn into oncoming traffic that is coming from Highway 20 heading east. I mean, and we've participated in 3 of the meetings. You came and did presentations. No one took any of us seriously, I guess. And yet your mission statement says here to provide a safe, sustainable, integrated, and efficient transportation system to enhance California's economy and livability. If we have come to the meetings and identified a safety issue and you've brought presentations, what guarantee do we have now that if you do this again, that you're just going to put everything that we set off to the side and rubber stamp this and continue on with the project how it's written?
Okay. Thank you for those comments.
And I'd like an answer probably at the
Well.
next meeting.
Okay. All right, any further comments in the chambers? Seeing none, any online? Okay. All right. So we will move on to item 10. We will recess as a policy advisory committee, reconvene as RTPA, ratify the action of the policy advisory committee. Is there a motion to ratify it?
I will move that we ratify the policy advisory committee action.
I'll second.
Okay. Do we need to take public comment on that? No, since we have taken public comment on all the issues, so, okay. So we will, let's see, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Almond?
Yes.
Director Hansen?
Yes.
Director Carter?
Yes.
Director Chris?
Oops, yes.
Chair Hashman?
Aye. All right, moving on to reports. We have, first, Caltrans District 1, Tasha Alstrand.
Hi, thank you. The district transit plan is moving along, and the report will result in identifying transit needs on the state highway system. Caltrans will be launching a location-based survey during focus groups with transit partners next month, so more to come on that. The 25-26 Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant Program, the awards were announced in July. So I just wanted to say congratulations to the 3 agencies in Mendocino County that were awarded a grant this cycle. MCOG with their Mendocino County Regional Vehicle Miles Traveled Mitigation Program, Mendocino County Department of Transportation Climate Adaptation Storm Drainage Vulnerability Analysis, and the City of Ukiah East Perkins Street Multimodal Transportation Plan. So brought in over $1 million in planning funding to this area, so that's really exciting. Clean California, a new round of funding available statewide with $25 million. The draft program guidelines were just released. The funding will be for cleanup and workforce development, and information was sent out to the RTPAs and transit partners today. We recently released the final EIR, EIS, and final Section 4F evaluation for the Albion River Bridge project. These materials can be accessed on the project website at albionriverbridgeproject.com. And our traffic safety team is in the early stages of drafting a conceptual project that will go to headquarters for consideration of approval of safety funding today. Then the project proposes traffic calming elements and corridor lighting on State Route 1 south of Fort Bragg. It proposes to include median island striping changes, narrowing of travel lanes, bike lanes, crosswalks, restriping improvements for the single lane Simpson Lane roundabout, and installing advanced warning beacons and radar feedback signs. Caltrans shared the proposal with MCOG, the county, and the city of Fort Bragg and other affected agencies for early feedback and comments. That's all I have today, unless there's questions. During Kirsten's presentation, she had mentioned a new opportunity to provide feedback, and we're going to be rolling that out with the next milestone report in September. So we'll have more information about that next month. Thanks.
Okay. So when you roll that out, that will be, we'll all know about it, and we can get that out to the public so they can make their comments too.
Well, actually, and I'm going to defer to the team who will be rolling it out, but the link will be provided in the milestone report, and the intention is for it to be used for our partners, the TAC partners, and you all. So.
Okay,
yeah.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, MTA. No report. Okay, the Great Redwood Trail Agency. We had a meeting in July, and then Senator McGuire had his town hall on August 12th. I think it was a virtual meeting. I think they said over 2,000 people were in attendance, and so lots of interest of what's happening with the Great Redwood Trail. And they talked about all the things, the projects that are ongoing, and I was able to see the connection that's happening between Arcata and Eureka. I rode my bicycle on it a couple times in the last couple weeks, and it's just great to see those kind of steps happening where we are starting to connect areas, and certainly there's some big gaps, but progress is happening. And one of the things that we approved in the July meeting was two contracts One was to have oversight for litter and homeless encampment outreach for the area from Ukiah to 16 miles north. And so there'll be more eyes on that area, and hopefully we can start taking care of some of these issues that, around people littering and also in encampments in those areas. Okay, that's my report for the Great Redwood Trail. MCOG staff, summary of meetings. Seen it? Any questions? We're good? All right. Okay, we'll look at the status of the Joint Powers Agreement Amendment.
I'll take that one. Yes, it's good news.
And this is for the RIN, right?
Yes, this is to add energy and climate-related programs as a specific power to the Joint Powers Agreement. And in May, June, and July, all 5-member governments approved that proposed amendment by resolution. So last week, I sent out the amended agreement for signatures by all concerned. And so I'm just waiting for that, and then I'll provide all of the city clerks and the county clerk with the completed, executed Joint Powers Agreement. Any questions?
No, but much appreciation to all the councils for approving that and, moving that forward.
Yes, they've been very cooperative. Appreciate it.
All right. Any miscellaneous?
Yes, we've got one miscellaneous. So just a quick update on our voter opinion polling for County of Mendocino for a potential transportation sales tax. And I'm going to hand it over to Michael to give you a brief update on that.
Good afternoon, everybody. So for the voter opinion polling, we are working with FM3, which is a well-established public opinion research firm, to conduct the voter opinion polling. Currently, the draft for the survey has been prepared, and it's also being refined in coordination with MCOG staff, the consultant, and Mendocino County DOT. The survey is designed to test support for a potential 1-cent sales tax measure for transportation infrastructure. Currently, we're awaiting guidance from County Council on a key legal question, whether the ballot language and survey question can be directed solely to residents in the unincorporated area, since the proposed measure would only affect those voters. This review must be resolved before the survey instrument can be finalized. Methodology: FM3 plans to administer the survey both online and by phone. So just to kind of quick recap, next step would include receiving County Council's determination on the legal review. Then we'll finalize the survey instrument with FM3, and then they'll launch their field work, and then they'll prepare the findings and share the results. Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah. Okay. Try it again.
Once the issue with County Council is resolved, do we have an estimated time that the survey would be conducted?
From my understanding, Howard reached out to County Council to try to get a response by them. I don't have an estimated time of when they'll get back to us.
But we're ready to go. So once we get the green light from County Council, everything is ready, so they can start. And I think, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but the consultant said like 1 to 2 weeks to gather the data to complete the surveys.
Yeah, it shouldn't take very long to do that. So I believe it is 1 to 2 weeks.
And once the survey is conducted, are we expecting like a report? And do we have an estimated timeline for that as well?
I believe when we did the RFP, we had the final report to be due or completed by, I want to say January 2026. That sound about right, Nafili?
Yeah, it's all, so this project is, it's sort of like, everything, every step of it sets the timeline for the next step. So once we have the survey data, then we have the option of focus groups if that seems like it will be of a benefit based on the initial survey data. So then depending on the number and the length of time that it takes for the focus groups, then the consultant prepares, analyzes the data and provides final results after that. Yeah, so should be January at the latest, could potentially be sooner if things move quickly.
Thank you.
Okay, so if the results came back in that it's favorable, then are we looking at putting something on the ballot for November the 26th? Is that feasible at this point?
Yes, that would be feasible at this point.
And in the survey, are they looking at different levels of support for different, 1 cent versus a half cent versus an eighth of a cent? Are they looking at that, or are they just looking at the 1 cent?
The survey currently is structured just at 1 cent. There are other questions that kind of weigh voter opinion based on different things to be included in it, but there was not variation on the amount. That is something, the survey hasn't started yet, so that is something that we could add.
Well, I know that the Department of Transportation would like, as much money as possible. I'm just looking at what the viability is of passing something, and there might be different levels where it could say, 1 cent is very shaky, but 3/4 of a cent would be a go. And so I think that kind of information would be very helpful. I mean, are we in agreement on that?
Yeah, I
Okay.
agree. More information is better than less.
And
Yeah,
then,
we can add that to the survey.
then lastly, the question is, like, what is the process for getting this on the ballot? Would it have to go to the Board of Supervisors to put it on the ballot, or how does it get on the ballot?
Yes, it could go to the Board of Supervisors, or it could also go through, the signature process where county residents, a committee of county residents gathers signatures and moves it forward that way. So those are the two approaches.
Right. And we're looking at, if it goes through the signature process, then it's a simple majority vote.
Correct.
And if it goes through the Board of Supervisors, then it's a 2/3 vote?
Yes.
Okay, so the survey is going to take that into consideration?
Yeah, that'll be I think the results of the survey would sort of indicate, which approach would be best to take.
Right. And if it shows that we need to go through, the petition gathering, do we have any idea if there's people, are we gonna see if there's a group of people out there that are that committed to getting the signatures? Or,
Yeah, I mean, that's where it sort of gets into, some gray area. We have to be careful about our involvement, which, is sort of providing information. I think there's a good chance that there are people that would be interested in doing that, but it's not something that we have formally researched.
okay. I think there's a group of people on the Little River Road that would probably, you know, Yeah, be strong advocates for it. Anyway, okay, any further questions? Well, thank you, Nafili, for those answers.
You're welcome. And we'll keep you posted. Hopefully by our next meeting, we'll have all kinds of information to share.
All right. And so the next meeting date, Monday, October 6th. Transportation tour. Anything to add to that?
We haven't really decided on that yet, so that's something that's kind of open to question still. We could move it out to November. Since we don't have anything ready to go.
Okay.
Last year we went in November. The weather's a little more iffy at that time of year. We were lucky last year. We had good weather.
Yeah, it
Really,
was a
did you have
beautiful trip
anything
to
else?
Covelo.
We were in Covelo last time, yes.
All right, so you'll let us know as soon as possible if we're doing a tour that day.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, the MCOG planning staff. Mr. Sukni.
Give a quick update on, I think it's work element 3, the 2026 regional transportation plan / active transportation plan. So staff just put out an administrative draft that was distributed to local agency partners and other partners like Coastal Commission, no, not the Coastal Commission, Coastal Conservancy, Great Redwood Trail, and other agencies like that. Comments are due by this Friday, and then we anticipate having a draft out to the public for review September 5th, 8th, somewhere around there. And then we will bring we'll bring a presentation to the board maybe in October we'll have it in October anyway, but maybe it'll be shorter if we go on a tour. And then we're going to have some public outreach workshops in September and October to get more input on the public draft. Bring a final draft before the board in November for review and hopefully adoption in December. Any questions?
Okay. No, but thank you for that timeline.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's all I've got today.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to be doing the report on, oh, no, wait, this is the wrong one. Sorry, I'm jumping ahead.
Work element 5.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here to provide an update on Work Element 5, the Mendocino County Sea Level Rise Roadway Impact Study. Currently, we're working with the consultants to finalize the initial site evaluations. There is a project website that's waiting on some final review before it goes live. Once that does go live, we will provide a link and a way to get to that website so you guys can view that as well. And we are expecting the public outreach phase to begin pretty shortly after the site evaluations are finalized. And once we have those details about the public outreach, we'll be sure to share them with you guys. And that's kind of where we are right now. Any questions on that? I apologize. I don't know all the details and timelines. I'm new to the project, so I'm just ramping up. But would be happy to answer questions.
And so I thought I saw that the funding was secured for it and we did get the grant. Is that project?
That would be VMT, I'm guessing, the vehicle the mitigation.
Yeah, the funding for this project was through a Caltrans planning grant that was awarded in the previous cycle.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. And work element number 9.
All right, now it's my turn. So the Noyo Harbor Multimodal Circulation Plan, this project kicked off last fall, really. It's had a couple rounds of public outreach, including multiple day charrettes, direct one-on-one outreach, and participation at other community events. The purpose of this plan was to come up with multimodal circulation recommendations, not just into the harbor, but through the harbor as well. So there was a lot of good input provided throughout the plan, and the consultants have come up with a draft plan, including draft recommendations. That plan is being presented to the City of Fort Bragg and County Council or City Council and Mendocino County Board of Supervisors and the Harbor District. And those presentations, I believe the first one is actually coming up this week. So those will be starting. The MCOG board will get a presentation on that at the next meeting. But there are some recommended projects that would improve access into the harbor. There are also recommendations for instance, a walkway through the harbor. And then some other recommendations like wayfinding sign and parking reconfiguration to just kind of make things work better overall and allow for some of those other improvements. Implementing agencies for these improvements vary based on what the improvement is. So for instance, for some items, it is the Harbor District. For some items, it is City of Fort Bragg. In some cases, it's MTA, so it just varies depending on the improvement. But that is where we are with that project, and more to come next month or next meeting. Any questions?
Very good. Any questions? Seeing none? All right, moving on to miscellaneous.
I don't know if staff in chambers has any miscellaneous, but I will just mention Caltrans, or Tasha already mentioned it, but since our last meeting, we did learn that we were successful in the receiving the Caltrans planning grant for the VMT mitigation project, mitigation banking project. So we're excited to get that started here in the next few months and move forward with that project. And then congratulations to the county and Ukiah who also received grants.
Very good. All right. Okay, moving on to item G, Northern Rural Energy Network. Ryan.
Hi folks, good afternoon. So yeah, I'm Orion Walker. I'm the Energy Program Manager for the NREN program, and I will just touch on a few highlights from my written staff report. So back in July, staff went down to San Jose for the California Climate and Energy Collaborative Yearly Conference. It was a good conference, very informative. It was also a good opportunity to meet up with a bunch of the other folks from our regional collaborative, and we had a number of strategic planning meetings and whatnot there. So that was good. And as I mentioned last time I was here a couple months ago, we're definitely in the public outreach phase of things now. So we've been actively getting out to a variety of events throughout the county over the last couple of months. I've seen some of you at a number of those events as well. We've been to Willits Frontier Days. We've been doing a number of different farmers markets. We did the Redwood Empire Fair, and we did the Blackberry Festival in Covelo this last weekend. So we've been getting out and about to a variety of places. Also met with the Climate Action Mendocino group. A little later this week, I'll be down in Hopland presenting to the MAC. So as I said, we're getting out there, getting the word out, and we've set up some meetings with local senior centers around the county where we'll be distributing the energy kits at the senior centers in person, and some food banks. So that's just some of the activities that we've been up to and are ongoing. Remind folks that the website northernren.org is up and functional, and we are having people sign up for the kits and the rebate programs, and that's all working well. We will be launching the phone-based home assessments within the next month as the final logistics and training for that piece of the services come into play. We have additional regional marketing staff that has come on for our regional efforts, and they're launching social media channels and that sort of thing. So you'll start to see us in a lot of different ways getting the word out about our services. That's our objectives. We're also doing some targeted in-person meetings with local HVAC companies to make sure that they're aware of some of the specific rebate programs that are very beneficial for their clients and folks doing heat pump installations and that sort of thing. So I've been having some good conversations with local HVAC installers. And we've been getting a bit of good press. We had a nice article in the Independent Coast Observer a little while back, and we'll be looking for more of that as well. So that's my update. Nafili also has an update on the budget staffing side of things, but let me know if you have any questions.
Well, two things I have is one is I appreciate your outreach because I have been seeing you in a lot of places. I actually saw you at the Blackberry Festival, but I didn't get time to talk.
Yep.
And I was interested about this, that Sonoma Clean Power rebates and the NREN, you can stack those?
Yes.
So you can get kind of a double savings?
Exactly. And we put
Okay.
together a specific marketing piece that highlights the savings from each of the two rebates, and if you stack them together, what that total savings could be. And that's the main piece that I've been having conversations with those HVAC installers about, so that they, particularly for the heat pumps, it makes a pretty significant impact on the cost of those projects. So
Right, that's great.
Yep.
So thank you for getting that word out too.
Happy to. Thanks. Anything else?
Any other comments? Okay, Nafili, did you have something to say?
Yeah, you have a written report from me, but I wanted to provide a bit of a budget update. It's the much less exciting part of the REN business. So as we have gotten into implementation, we've launched these programs, we've got staff on board, and it has become clear that the budget that was provided to not just MCOG, but to the Lake Area Planning Council as well to implement was really small compared to the level of program implementation that we're expecting to do in our area. The reason for this is that when we first joined the REN, we were not full partners. We were sort of a sub-partner under the umbrella of the Redwood Coast Energy Authority. And they were going to be doing quite a bit of the administrative workload and implementation in our region. So when the REN was reconfigured that was finally approved in fall of 2024, we became full partners at that time and had more implementation responsibilities, more administrative responsibilities that went along with that greater role. It was good to have the role as a full partner in the REN. However, the budget for these two counties did not increase along with the changed responsibilities. So the impact of that has become more and more apparent as we've gotten into launching. And so the REN as a whole, the governing partners voted to shift some of the overall NREN budget to Mendocino and Lake counties to allow them to increase staffing for these programs. So that was preliminarily approved and should receive final approval later this week from the NREN governing partners. That would allow one additional NREN dedicated staff person. You just heard a little bit about what the two existing staff people have been doing. That's just with really two programs being launched. So as we get into these other programs, we haven't even really started to publicly launch yet, like our work with public agencies, workforce education and training, those types of things, it will become more and more important to have some additional staffing. So that will allow MCOG to add one additional person and then also cover some extra administrative hours that Jody's had to spend working on things. So this is not an action item, just an informational item today, but we do expect that a related action item will come before you at a future meeting. So that's my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, my question is, and we'll see the numbers in the future about what this actually looks like, because it sounds like RCEA did a little, I mean, they probably didn't give us everything we were expecting. Is that correct?
You know, I don't think it was, I don't think that, I think that they gave us the increased role, which we were glad to have. And I just don't think that there was, because we had been sort of lumped in with their budget before, there just wasn't any, it wasn't intentional. They did not short our budget intentionally. There just wasn't any, when that change happened, any thought to redistribute the budget. So they have, you know, are definitely trying to make up for that along with the Sierra Business Council. They've both recognized there is an imbalance in the budget. But unfortunately, there isn't an opportunity to increase the budget for the NREN as a whole until the next business plan cycle, which would take effect in 2028. So this would be sort of an interim fix for the next couple of years, and should make things much better.
So if I'm understanding that correctly, then because of this, we won't be able to implement the programs that we were hoping to implement for several more years, because we don't have the fund, we won't have the staff, we won't have the funding to really roll these programs out like we thought.
We are still planning to implement all 7 programs. Some of those programs maybe will look a little different, maybe a little different than they might look in, say, Humboldt County, where they have, you know, more staff and more experience implementing this type of thing. So, for instance, with the type of direct installations that they're doing, that's something that we can offer under this program. We might be just kind of dipping our toes into that by the end of this cycle, by the end of 2027, whereas in some of the other areas, they may be doing quite a bit more of that type of work. So we will still implement all 7 programs, just to a lesser extent than they will be doing in some other areas.
And this 2028 date that the new, but you know, when they reconsider their budget, that's kind of set in stone, or we?
The date is, yes, because the initial approval by the California Public Utilities Commission was for a period going through the end of 2027.
Oh. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Orion and Feely.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, moving on to MCOG directors reports. Director Hanson, and good to see you
Thank you.
in the Zoom world.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're back.
I appreciate it. Good to be back.
Do you have any report?
No report. I've just been struggling with renal cancer, and I'm back in service. So
yeah. Well, thank you, and I'm glad you're here with us. Any other reports? Director Klein.
Thank you, Chair. Really quickly, the legislation being authored by Assemblymember Chris Rogers, AB 831, which would help the Hopland Public Utility District pay for moving their utility lines for the ADA project, has moved through the process. It's currently in Senate Appropriations. We're hoping to get it on the governor's desk and hopefully signed.
Right.
Chair, I also
Yes.
wanted just to introduce myself. My name is Matthew Alaniz, and I'll be the new permanent representative from the city of Willits, taking over for Mr. Allman. The alternate will remain the same, but I appreciate you guys all patience with me as I delve deep into these numbers and projects. I'm a good reader, and I'm really good with numbers, so I'm looking forward to doing more work. But just wanted to introduce myself and to say I'm ready to get to work. Thank you.
Welcome.
Very good. And thank you for stepping away from the classroom for these meetings, because there is a conflict there. So, and Mr. Alaniz, Director Alaniz, is a math teacher, so
Yes,
we're in good hands.
Yes, and the school district is in very good support of what I'm doing. I do have to take my personal time, and I don't get paid to do it. So I want to make sure that I don't double dip. I shouldn't get paid to two different offices by doing two different things. So I do take a loss of pay when I leave school so that I can do county business. But they're full in support of what I'm doing, and they're very cooperative. And I really want to thank my supervisors in the district to allowing me to do additional public service more than what we had originally agreed to.
Very good. And the CalCog report is, there was a meeting actually that started at 1 o'clock today. I attended the first 20 minutes of it before coming here, and they were talking about some of the legislation that's going through, and you know, also these videos that they're doing for new members of COGS that they're going to start rolling out in the near future. They got a $130,000 grant from Caltrans to kind of, I think it was Caltrans, to produce these videos to kind of explain to members of COGS and what the whole COG is about, and the financing strands and all that. So hopefully we'll get it before you're a grizzled veteran. Okay.
Before my hair turns gray.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, and with that, number 11, a report. Just a quick comment. Okay.
We really like our bus stop in Redwood Valley. Thank you. It's been, always has cars. People are using it for park and ride. It's also a real safe place to meet your family and transfer things. And no matter what time I go past it, there's either a car's there or something going on. So thank you. Public transit, I think, is what's going to help us lead into the future here. We really need to work next on our public transit mall, because we're one of only counties that doesn't have one. And excellent job to the Wren also.
Thank you, Gizmo. And yeah, that new stop off of West Road, that exit is really nice to see.
Always full.
Okay. And with that, at 2:51, we'll adjourn the meeting.
All right. Thank you, everyone.